Good evening and welcome to the channel. If you don't hit that subscribe button, then please consider hitting that subscribe button. Today's video is going to be totally different to anything I've ever done before. And it's going to take the route of it being a bit of a quiz. I'm going to give you a number of facts, a number of myths, and I want you to really be honest and decide how many of them you actually knew, and let's find out how much of a golf geek you are. So how many of you play Titleist Vokey wedges? I know I personally do. I've had an SM7 in my bag for probably 6-7 years since it first came out. The Bob Vokey designed wedge, which is made by Titleist, is regarded as one of the leading wedges in the world of golf. It's used by millions and millions of people across the planet. But there's one shocking thing that I found out about this club, and I'm not sure whether you'll know this or not, but the club is not actually forged, it's cast. I was under the impression, which I'm like a lot of you were at home, that this was a forged wedge, because we're told forged is better to feel, it's for the better players. When you're paying a premium price for a wedge, I would personally expect it to be forged. Most of its competitors, price-wise and performance-wise, are obviously forged. Would that make you not buy a Vokey wedge in the future? It's made me certainly think whether this is the actual best wedge on the market, or whether a forged wedge would personally be better for me. So consistently over a longer distance, the ball without the alignment aid you actually putt better with. For shorter putts, using an alignment aid like a line, either drawing it on your ball or actually getting some of these balls that come pre-marked with the alignment aid, is actually better. I'm for one who have always used an alignment aid when putting. Before golf balls introduced a line already on the golf ball, I always used to get a black thick marker pen and draw a line around the ball and use that for every single length of putt. I guess from those sort of longer putts, if we're lining the ball up using the line and we don't quite get the line correctly, so we're a couple of degrees out, that will obviously affect our putting and probably affect our stroke. Finally, do you use an alignment aid on the golf ball when putting? If you do, hit it in the comment section below and the reasons for it, and if you don't, I also want to hear your reasons why you don't do it. I'm someone who was a retailer in a previous life, and the amount of times I'd get someone who was, say, using tricks and irons would come into the shop and say, "Lester, can you order me the latest set of ping clubs?" And I'd be like, "Right, we need to do a custom fit for you." "Oh, no, don't worry about it, Lester. I'm 1 degree upright and half an inch longer in my clubs, so can you just order them?" Well, I'm here to tell you that there is not a standard across the board. So those clubs can be completely different. You can have half an inch between each clubs as their standard. You can have 1 or 2 degrees in loft or in lie angle different. So if you're changing from make to make, or brand to brand is probably the better word, then you need to go and get fitted for your new clubs. But if you increase the loft of the club, say we go from 10 to 10.5, then we are changing the face angle. Years ago, the companies denied the fact that this actually happens, but we know if you increase the loft, you generally will close the club face slightly. If you decrease the loft, then you will open the club face up. If you grab your driver and just literally give it a little tweak and change the loft, see whether you can see that by your eye. I know that when you move it a couple of degrees, it's obviously the more you move it, the more you can see that change, but that change for me is quite noticeable. This was an actual scenario we found ourselves faced with at Torquay last week, where the ball had come to rest on top of a leaf in the middle of the fairway. We only just found the ball within the allocated 3 minutes as well. So my playing partner asked me whether he could have a free drop, and I was like, no, the leaf is regarded as a loose impediment. You can remove the leaf, but if the ball moves, you are penalised. It doesn't matter whether you're on the fairway or in the rough, the rule is the same. So unfortunately, he had to play the ball as it lies. So who remembers having rusty wedges? Not just old wedges, but wedges that, I think they were a raw material, they were called raw wedges, and they deliberately rusted, and companies believed that that rust would increase the spin properties of particular golf clubs. Cobra did one, which I think was a Trusty Rusty. That's one I had. I know Titleist Vokey wedges did a raw version, which was rusty. Mizuno, I mean, every single major manufacturer were making these rusted wedges. We don't see many of these wedges around at the moment, and it seems to be something of the past. And this chart here that I'm going to put up now, again from Golf Spy, will probably give you the very reason why we don't see these wedges anymore. According to their study, rusty wedges actually spin less than a normal wedge. So why you would let your wedge go rusty or buy a rusted wedge, it's going to do absolutely nothing to the spin other than take spin off. And with your wedges, you want as much spin as possible. So the answer is rust does not increase the spin of a wedge. For those not aware, there is not a maximum loft allowed on a golf club. There's no limit. I mean, I've found a wedge on Amazon, just typed in lofted wedges, the most lofted wedges available, and I found a 70-degree wedge. But I have heard in the past, and I've seen a few videos on YouTube where people have got like 80 or 90 degrees of loft on a wedge. I personally wouldn't recommend it. That is way too much loft. You can have too much loft in your bag. You'll get no distance out of that club if you hit it fully. And I would say it's probably very unforgiving, hard to use, and an absolute waste of time carrying such a lofted club in the bag. Ideally, I'd recommend sort of 58 or maximum of 60. I mean, 64-degree wedges in the past were quite common in people's bags. I included this question in this video because I had someone the other week ask me whether they were allowed to carry two putters, because they putted really well with a conventional length putter from distance, but short distance they felt like they wanted an arm lock putter. But they thought, wrongly may I say, that you're only allowed one putter in the bag. The rule clearly states 14 clubs is the maximum number of clubs you can carry at any one time, but you could carry 14 putters if you wanted. You could carry 14 drivers. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. It's not going to help your scoring, but it doesn't matter what clubs you have in your bag as long as you do not exceed 14. Let me know how much of a golf geek you actually are.